Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Through Endurance We Conquer. I'm your host, Ashley Mello. Today, I'll share the story of how I started running during one of the hardest times of my life. We'll also talk about the power of small, consistent actions and how they can set you on the path to achieving your goals, whether you're a new runner or looking to rediscover your stride. This podcast is about how running can improve your mental health, build resilience, and help you navigate life's challenges. For me, running has been a game changer. It's helped me face tough times, find clarity in the chaos, and build the mental strength to push through challenges, both on and off the road. And if you're here, I'm guessing you felt that power too. Or you're curious to see how running can help you in ways you may not expect. In each episode, I'll be sharing personal stories, practical advice, and giving you a weekly challenge to get moving. Whether you're just starting to run or you've been at it for years, my goal is to help you discover how running can make you stronger, inside and out. So grab your shoes, maybe head out for a run, and let's dive into this journey together. Because I truly believe that through endurance, we conquer. Welcome again to the very first episode of Through Endurance We Conquer, and thank you so much for listening. If you don't know me, my name is Ashley, and I'm an RRCA certified running coach and UESCA certified ultra running coach. I've ran dozens of marathons and 50Ks across the country and have completed a few 50-mile races as well. While that may sound like a lot of running, I haven't always been a runner. When I played soccer, I was always the slowest girl on the team. In middle and high school, I dreaded the mile run days. I was also one of the last ones in the class to finish the mile. Most of my childhood and early adulthood, I never thought sports were for me, and I always dreaded running. But that changed after one of the hardest moments of my life. 2 months after I graduated college, my world fell apart when my closest friend passed away. Running became the lifeline I didn't know I needed. Losing her was absolutely devastating. I was overwhelmed with grief and didn't know how to cope. I had trouble sleeping, I had no appetite, and anytime I did try to eat, I'd immediately throw up. And because of that, my hair was thinning and falling out. I was struggling to hold it together just to get through the day. It eventually got to the point where I had to take a few weeks off of work. I was on the verge of breaking down in front of customers and I just couldn't do it anymore. One day during my hiatus from work, I decided to go for a walk. I left the house without a plan or goal. I just knew I couldn't stay inside laying in bed all day. I needed to get out and move. After walking for a few minutes, I thought, maybe I can try running for a little bit. So I started to run and after 3 minutes took a walking break. The 3-minute run felt a little challenging, but after walking for 2 minutes, I felt like I could try to run again. That day, I only did 3 sets of those intervals of running for 3 minutes, walking for 2 minutes, before I decided to turn around and head back home. For the first time since losing my friend, I felt okay. I may not have felt good, but I didn't feel hopelessly depressed either. The next day, I decided to go out and run those intervals again. As I was wrapping up my last set, I reached the foot of a steep overpass. It seemed too daunting to go over that day, so I just turned back and walked home. Over the next few weeks, I kept going out to run those intervals, and I'd walk the rest of the way home whenever I got tired of running. As the days went by and my mood lifted, I noticed that my appetite started to come back. I was now able to hold food down, I wasn't losing my hair as much as I had been, and my sleep was starting to return to normal. Even though I still missed my friend so much and was still heavily grieving, I was starting to function normally again, and I had some moments of feeling okay. When I went back to work, I continued to go out to run intervals and walk. By this time, I was increasing my running time. 5 minutes turned to 7, which then turned to 10, until I eventually got to the point of running 30 minutes at a time. I then realized that 30 minutes was the longest I had ever run without taking a break in my whole life. One day, I decided to walk over the overpass instead of turning around to go home like I normally did. I then went through downtown before heading home to see how far the route would be. When I got home, I mapped it out and realized it was 6 miles. That was almost double of what I had done before. That 6-mile route became my new routine. I'd run as long as I could, and when I got too tired, I'd just walk the rest of the way home. It wasn't about being fast or perfect. It was about showing up and doing my best each day. But the overpass, that was always the hardest part. It had a steep incline, and most days I'd end up walking it, even if my timer said it was time to run. Then one day, everything changed. I was halfway through my run and approaching the overpass. Normally, I'd stop and walk, but something in me was tired of giving up when things got hard. I told myself, just keep going. Even if it's slow, don't stop. As I started up the overpass, a strong wind began blowing against me, pushing me back down. It felt like the universe was testing me and making the hardest part of my run even harder. My legs were burning and I was barely moving, but I refused to give in. Step by step, I pushed forward, fighting the wind and the incline. When I finally reached the top, I felt an incredible sense of accomplishment. That day, for the first time, I ran the entire 6 miles home without stopping. That moment on the bridge was a turning point for me. It taught me that I could push through hard things, even when they felt impossible. Running became more than just exercise. It became my way of coping with grief and finding strength I didn't know I had. Over time, I noticed other changes too. I started eating healthier, drinking less, and taking better care of myself overall. Running helped me heal, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Looking back, it's amazing to see how far I've come. What started as a desperate attempt to process my grief turned into a passion that transformed my life. As running became such a big part of my life, I started to realize something. I wasn't just feeling better physically. I was learning how to face challenges head on, both on and off of the road. That feeling of accomplishment, of pushing through when things felt impossible, is something that I want to share with others. I know how overwhelming it can feel to start from scratch, especially when you're carrying emotional weight like grief, stress, or self-doubt. That's why I became a running coach. I want to help people who feel stuck. People who, like me, might not think that they're runners, or even believe they're capable of change. I want to show them that it's possible to build strength, resilience, and confidence, one step at a time. As a coach, I've had the privilege of guiding others through their own journeys. Whether it's helping someone run their first mile, set a new personal best, or simply discover the joy of movement, I've seen how transformative running can be. It's not just about the finish line, it's about learning what you're capable of when you keep showing up for yourself. So if you're someone who's struggling or feeling unsure of where to start, I want you to know that you're not alone. I've been there, and I'd love to help you take that first step toward whatever goals or dreams you have. And now I want you to take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt like something was too hard to even try? And now I want you to think, what would happen if you just took one small step today toward that hard thing? And that brings me to the weekly challenge segment. Every week I'll give you a new challenge related to the episode's theme to help you along your running journey. This week's challenge is all about starting small and showing up. I'd like you to think of what small action you can take to get started. That could be running short intervals with walking breaks like I did when I started, or it could be going out for a 5-minute walk, or doing a short stretch routine, or simply laying out your running shoes for tomorrow. This isn't about hitting a perfect goal, just taking one small action today to build momentum. Any small action you take today is a step forward in building up towards your big goal. When you start with a smaller goal, it's a lot easier to build consistency. That consistency is going to be the key to building up to bigger goals, to running longer distances, or running faster times. But it all starts with a small action today. So for this week, I want you to pick that small action and commit to it every day. If you want to share your first step, tag me on Instagram at Through Endurance We Conquer. I'd love to be there to cheer you on. If you're feeling stuck and don't know where to start, download my free Couch to 5K running guide on mellowrunning.com to build up to running 3.1 miles in just 6 weeks. It's completely free and very beginner friendly. Well, thank you for listening to the first episode. If this story resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to reach out or share your own journey. You can email me at ashley@mellowrunning.com, or you can message me through Instagram at Through Endurance We Conquer. And I'll include my website, email, and Instagram handle in the show notes, so you can just copy and paste from there. In future episodes, we'll cover topics like goal setting, finding motivation, and how running can bring adventure into your life. And next week, we'll talk about setting realistic goals and why running your own race, literally and metaphorically, is the key to success. Don't forget to subscribe and share the podcast with a friend. And if you're just starting out, remember, it's not about being the fastest or going the farthest. It's about showing up and taking that first step. Whether you're running up your own metaphorical overpass or starting with just one step, it's through endurance that we conquer.